Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Layers&Keyframes podcast. I'm your host, Lankai, and I am joined by Reigo, Mexic,
Hey
and
guys.
our guest, Will Taylor, coming on for the first episode. And let's have a quick introduction of ourselves for those who don't know. So let's start with Will. What's up?
So, hello everyone. I'm Will. I'm a motion designer based in the UK, and I'm working with Ravi. You can see the sign there. And yeah, just having a good time. So,
What about you, Reigo?
I'm Reigo. I don't know why I said that in English, but I'm a motion designer from Estonia. At the moment, I'm working at the new design agency, and yeah.
Okay, my turn then. I'm Lankai, motion designer from Ghana, coming to go UK in 2 years. But for today, repping the best country in Europe right now because they're gonna win the Euros. Let me tell you right now. Allez bleu. So for the first episode, we're going to be talking about our guest here, Will. And the first thing we want to talk about is like what started all of this. Like me and Rago, we both know you since like early wlroo community days, but for the general people, like exactly did this start?
I mean, it started right at the beginning with most people were kind of into like Minecraft videos and things like that. So I was big on that. There's a lot, yeah. So basically, started out doing like Minecraft videos. That turned into like I was like doing redstone in Minecraft, so a lot of like technical stuff, and then I was making like video showcases.
Mumbo Jumbo?
Yeah, like he got me into it.
Yeah.
I was getting to that.
Yeah. I love his filmmaking.
Trust me. And so basically, I was like making these redstone doors and things like this, making these like showcases. And obviously, for these YouTube videos back in 2016, you need an intro on the video. So yeah, put an intro on it. Ended up like enjoying making the intros more than I did the actual edit themselves. And then before you know it, I was hooked on After Effects. And now, 9 years later, I am working with Ravi and all this good stuff. So yeah, it's been a fun time.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's funny.
Oh yeah, you go.
Yeah, it's funny because I've had the exact same track. Like I started out making like videos and stuff with a camera, and then I ended up like doing Minecraft videos, and then everyone had these cool banners and intros and stuff. And then I installed Photoshop and started messing around. I actually have more experience. I had more experience with Cinema 4D at the start, and like making like banners, and then I installed After Effects to make an intro as well. And same, I've been doing this for more than 10 years. Well, I've had the programs for more than 10 years, but still a long way to go.
I know what you mean.
Nuts. Well, I feel a bit out of place now because I started making Rocket League edits. Rocket League edits, yeah. Those back in the day, you guys don't know this, but back in the day, Pulse Clan, Black and Red, that montage, the most incredible thing ever. But I think that's Minecraft is like where most people start. But I remember back in the day when you started with the wlroo community. Let's start with that, like how that also came to be.
So obviously I'd been making kind of free intros on my YouTube channel for a long time. And basically what happened was I thought, okay, the next thing to do is to host a little contest. So I thought, bring everyone together. Like the intro community was kind of fading out a little bit at that point. And I was kind of like, okay, let's do something that kind of gets people back together. So I basically I host this contest and I did a Discord server for everyone to be in so that it was sort of like a minute of like, everyone can chat to each other while they work on their things. The idea was to kind of bring everyone closer. That contest ended after it ended. I then thought, I don't want to let this go. Like, this is so cool.
Was the contest the wlroo 5K? Was it that contest?
wlroo C1, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
wlroo C1.
Okay.
And that was ages ago. And yeah, then I just thought, I don't want to let this go. I quite like this community. And literally just kept it. And now it is just the wlroo community. And it has been like that since 2020. So that's like 4.5 years, which is insane to me.
I remember lockdown.
It feels like that, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reigo, you've been you've been to military service, come back, and the community is still ongoing. That's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Huh?
Yeah,
8 months.
but yeah, that whole period was so long. I remember, what's it called? When you had the Minecraft server. That was the funniest part. When you stream the Minecraft server.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was
I think,
that was a moment.
and then now none of us play anymore. It was a good summer though. It was a good summer.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of them, you know. It's
Yeah.
like because I think what I liked about it was like it felt like a group of friends rather than like a group of people who do the same thing. You know what I mean? More than anything, it's like we would hop on most days and we just sit there and just die laughing every day, which was great. You know,
Duanye.
but I remember all of it, bro. It's the best time. It's the best time.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
that's
great
so
these
cute.
communities like exist. I wonder if there are any more like other than the Ravi and wlroo community right now. There probably are, but we just don't know about it because I also
Yeah.
grew up with a lot of people in 2D fam now Concilio.
Yeah.
Will was also there. I remember like a long time ago who's this kid. Like I wasn't much older than you. I'm like 2 years older, I think.
I'm 20 now.
Yeah, then I'm turning
Yeah.
22. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like having people to talk about like motion design and stuff is really good, and you learn a lot as well in these communities, like because you have other people, you look at their work and it's like really good, and then you're like, okay, I gotta step up my game, bro.
Yeah, it's fully like that. I think also like, especially since being with Ravi, you kind of start to appreciate like what having a close knit type, a close knit group of people that want the same kind of thing, and how valuable that is. Because if you like just sit in a call with them every day, you're naturally just gonna have conversations, be like, oh, I did this cool thing, look at this, and then you learn that, and then vice versa. So you kind of grow together, which I love about having like a group of people. I think it's so valuable.
That's just true, actually. But so far, like, see, I know that ever since like the Ravi, you started getting there, like you've started like slowing down with the rural community stuff. But I wanted to ask
It's
if
true.
you have any future plans for it still. Like, I know you won an award with it, right? Entrepreneur
Yeah,
award.
something like that. So basically, like I at the minute, what it is for me is I've got it on the back burner in case something, if an opportunity like presents itself. So I'm not gonna like force growing this community if I've not got like a plan for what I want it to become. And at the minute, like also with the situation of the industry and stuff, I and Ravi as well are more focused on just getting ourselves to a stable point where we're not going to go under, and once we're there, it's kind of like, okay, what optional extras can we add, right? So if we do reach a point that's kind of like, okay, this is good, we'll look at the wlroo community and start to think like, okay, this could be this thing or this thing, and it's like it's all about that. But the thing is for me is like, especially since I got older, it's like it's less viable to be spending every day like nurturing something that's not necessarily giving you a return, especially when your life is a thing. You do need something that, like when jobs kick in and stuff like that is what just has to matter. But it is eventually, it's the sort of thing where it's like you get to stable and you can start to see what you can do. But that's the sort of plan at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair, to be honest. If you can't
Yeah.
make money, you can't really continue it that much.
Exactly.
But there should always be a plan, though, at least. But even besides from the wlroo community, I remember before you had a brief stint where you were kind of studio hopping a little bit. I remember there was Azurite Obey with Lloydie, like Lloydie, those guys. Like, is there anything
Yeah.
like valuable that you think working with like a variety of like studios like that? If there's something good you learned.
I think what's nice about, I mean, going studio to studio quite fast is not a good thing. That's not like so for me, I mean, what that was it's more like you spend some time with a lot of different environments and you kind of figure out, okay, what works for me, what doesn't work for me, like, okay, the reason I didn't stay around in most of them is because it like that just wasn't the kind of thing I was after at that point. Do you know what I mean? It's not nothing
Were they
against
more
the studios
esports
themselves.
orientated, or no?
As well, that's the main reason for a lot of it, was kind of, I'm not trying to get into this industry. Maybe that industry doesn't have a lot of longevity potentially. You know, it's whatever it is, but it's like it didn't suit me. So I thought, you know, it's probably best if switch it up, and I basically just kept going until I found something that worked for me, to be honest.
Yeah, and something that worked for you, because something that definitely worked for you. You have basically made your own After Effects style, like the After Effects 3D style. And if you like to like tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want to know about it?
Like where did it come from? Like how did you start experimenting to the point that you got so like this level of experience just within After Effects Cinema 4D? Because now,
Yeah.
let me not lie, I'm scared for if you find out actual C4D.
I think the thing is, like, I have never, I mean, in total honesty, it started with like laziness. Like, I don't want to have to learn another program and all this. So I kind of thought, okay, well, how far can you push After Effects? I like After Effects. How far does it actually go? And then I think what happened was that the style kind of evolved from what the limitations of After Effects 3D actually are. So when you kind of take it so far, I feel like I'm not fully there yet. I don't think I've made the most impressive After Effects possible thing ever, but I think I'm getting there to the point where it's like, okay, I'm starting to get comfortable with like what's possible in After Effects, especially with some of the stuff I did this year. But yeah, I think it's born out of limitations, but that's kind of interesting because then you show it off in a way that's like, yo, After Effects doesn't have limitations, so you can. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
it does.
Yeah,
like
that's
because of the limitations, it looks the way it does.
Yeah,
but it's still like a certain style. It's just it looks good
Yeah.
still.
That's the one.
But like when you started like testing out like 3D stuff, did you like take like time to actually develop it, or did it just come naturally? Like you just started doing more and more, or when you saw like the 3D stuff was working, you started to like develop it more?
Yeah, I mean that was the thing. So I kind of it's exactly as you say, it's like you kind of start to get an idea for what works and how far it can go, and you think, actually, hang on, I can push this next thing. And again, it's like you're surrounded by people. At this point, when I was like developing this style, I was surrounded by people in the wall community most days. And it's like you learn little things off each other, and that's kind of, you can implement that to what you're doing and all of this, and then it's just born out of experience. And I can't stress that enough. It literally is just iteration.
Yeah.
Like every piece you do is not going to be the best thing you ever do. So the next thing you make will almost definitely top it, or at least this is something we actually speak of a lot at Ravi, is like things with perfectionism and stuff like that, is like when you feel like you're trying to get a piece of work to a point where it's like perfect and flawless, it's like, why would you do that? Because the next thing you do, you're going to have learned however many things in that difference, and that's going to make it so much better. So you've got to just enjoy the journey a little bit, I think, with this stuff as well.
That's well, I mean, considering how you say you're now getting started and the kind of stuff you're doing, it's very makes me very hopeful for the future. Because I know that from this like your After Effects 3D style that Adobe and those guys started recognizing you, that your Adobe conference in Dubai. Yeah, let's talk about that, because I've heard that it came from like your work being so like unique in the After Effects scene. So how do you even get invited to Dubai?
So I did a series on Twitter called 100 Daily After Effects Tips, right? And this basically for me now has been the reason my Twitter blew up and all this stuff. But I would do things where I've posted all these 100 tips, and then I would like compile them into like mini threads, which are like collections of tips that link together, and they're like little collections that you tweet out and everyone loves it, whatever.
Yeah.
And anyway, I like one day I just flippantly reposted one of them. I was like, you know what? See what happens here. Anyway, so one of the, I think I'm gonna get this title wrong, but it was like the senior like relationship manager at Adobe, saw my stuff. He emailed me basically saying, hey Will, we've got this opportunity for a speaker in the Emirates. Would you be, up for it? And I'm thinking, oh my God, like I'm in a uni house. This was in November, just gone. And I'm in my uni house and I'm thinking, I'm cooking my dinner. I'm thinking, what is going on, So I'm like, there's no way that's what this is. So I email back. I'm like, yo, that's cool. But it's like, I said to him, I was like, look, when we had a meeting, you don't get Adobe in your inbox every day, so it's kind of like an interesting
unless
thing.
it's for kind of pricing plans.
Yeah, your membership's about to be cancelled. No, like honestly, I was like, oh my days, this is the most surreal kind of experience. It's kind of like I've used your software and you're now reaching out to me because I use your software in a way, So anyway, I was blown away, and I was like, you know what, this is amazing. And then, I mean, it was back and forth with all sorts of different people to kind of make the logistics work, but they flew me out, and I did 5 different After Effects workshops in front of live audiences out there. So that was a fun time. So it was 2 different workshops, but I did it 5 times. So I did a beginner one that was basically like how to bounce a ball in After Effects, like you've never used After Effects before type of stuff. And then the next one was like faux 3D and stuff like that. But what was really cool was you would get the people who were in the beginner one and they'd show up to the intermediate one. And I was like, this is good. And they were keeping up. So I thought, you know what? My work here is done. Happy days.
That must feel good. Like, so from the experience, you can.
Yeah. How did you like the teaching? How was that experience?
I love it. I really like it. I think it's, I've always thought, like getting into teaching as a career, like how well does that pay off and all this stuff. But I thought, actually, if you're doing these, like going out to these cool places, teaching something that you genuinely love, it's like, this is a dream, I absolutely loved it. I think going around, obviously when you are teaching like beginners, it can get a little bit more like hands-on. It's like you're sort of saying, click this. But I think when you've got an audience, this was by comparison, it's like you've got that intermediate audience. All of a sudden it's like, we can talk about like theory and what you're doing here and why you're doing it, not necessarily how to do it, which was really nice. And that kind of point was, for me, I was like, this is solid. And that's when you actually start to enjoy the conversations. You get some interesting kind of back and forth on a few things. It's a good time.
Plus, if you're like teaching and you're able to teach it to someone else, you understand the concept yourself even more better. So you get even better at the thing yourself as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really nice.
Sweet.
Yeah. Do you have any funny stories for us that came from Dubai? Oh yeah, it's your time there.
Not so much funny stories. I think it's just, for me, like the culture over there is so different. It's like so different. Like at the start of each workshop, you'd like thank the king and stuff like that, and it's like surreal to me. It was like properly, because effectively the situation of the, what's it called, like the conference itself was put on by the government and the king and all of this stuff, or the sheik, I should say. So at the start of the workshops, the courteous thing to do over there is to kind of say like, yo, thank you to His Majesty and all of this. And that to me was funny, because I nearly didn't do it, but I was talking to the guy who got flown out for Premiere Pro, and he was saying he was going to do it, and suddenly I was like, I should probably do that. But when you do it, like you see the audience, they all like light up. They're like so happy about it. So, which was surreal to me, because if you did that in the UK, that would never happen.
Thank you, King Charles.
It's like exactly. It's like a totally different situation. But that was probably the funniest thing to me. But no, it's just different cultures. So
yeah, just part of the culture. Imagine if you'd have to do that every time you had a lesson in uni. Thank you, King Charles.
Surreal.
Take the national anthem before you start learning statistics.
Yeah.
But okay, that Dubai, it looked like when you posted it for the first time, like even me, when I responded to you, you could tell I was shocked, bro. Like I was the what's the word? What's the word for like when you compare yourself to someone? I forgot it. Like compare yourself to someone who's like got something better than you.
Envious?
Yeah. I was envious. I was so envious, but at the same time, you have to keep on going. But besides from
Look, bro,
the,
I've always seen it as luck. I think it was total luck that I reposted that Twitter thread one day, so don't worry about it. That's why I say it's all about getting yourself in front of as many eyes as you can, and the bigger net that you cast, the more fish you're going to catch. Do you know what I mean? So it's more about how much can you get yourself out there. And the whole game for us at Ravi lately as well, it's been playing to luck, basically, a little bit. So we've been making like loops and stuff, and it's all about, those things we are hoping land on the right For You pages on Instagram Reels or whatever it is. And we're just hoping that they are hiring at that time or they need something. It's like, all we're doing is showing up, but we're not saying, hire us. It's not necessarily an advert to say, hey, I'm a newly single motion designer and I need to work with you. It's like, because it comes across like you're looking for work. But if you just, this is a big thing, is if you want to get yourself out there and all of this stuff and get opportunities, it is about showing what you can do in a way that doesn't look like you want work, and you just show up with your talent, and suddenly it looks, people latch onto it more than you think. So
yeah, personal projects are definitely key. Like from my
100%.
experience as well. Every time I post a new personal project, it's the best time of my life. I wake up in the morning, five new Twitter DMs, 5 new emails, and I'm just smiling. It's not like they're gonna respond to me in like a week, but it's still it's still a nice feeling.
That's what I'm saying though. It's a good feeling. And it's building up from there. Like, keep the momentum as well. Like, if it's going well for you, don't let that just fade because it's doing well. Like, if it's doing well, that's the time to then keep going. Ride the wave every time. You'll see it's such an exponential curve, so much more than you think. So
yeah, that's definitely right. Last year when I did the weeklies, that's when I felt it as well, but I kind of fell off. But yeah, just like doing the work you like and do like projects and just putting them out is something that will help you make new connections, and people will find you through them. Because when you're searching, it's not as good. Usually, the weeklies worked really well. I made a lot of new connections, found new people to talk to and stuff like that.
100%. It's a good time.
Actually, speaking about connections, another going back to Dubai, but any interested people you met that you are still talking to today?
The main two were the guy who was obviously doing the Premiere Pro workshops, dope guy, and a guy called Nico Moreno. Never heard of him before this thing. I met him there, and I was just like, yo, it's just interesting to see, like, now that I follow him on Instagram as well, it's kind of like the stuff he's getting up to. I think he lives in New York, so he's like doing all these different things, and it's just kind of cool to see. The other person was my contact at Adobe, a guy called Esteban. Absolute legend. Love that guy as well. And we were just talking about potentially doing more things this summer or whatever comes up, but currently waiting on that, so we'll see. But I don't know.
One day you'll see me in the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll see me in the audience.
Yeah?
Yeah,
we'll fly you out. We'll make it happen.
Exactly. I got a new visa, so I'm there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But actually, since you said, I know that you're in university right now, but I wanted to ask about like how you think university has impacted your design career from like your first year all the way to your final year, which is right now.
Yeah, I think so. This is interesting because I went to university with the intention of learning design because I do graphic design, right? Because I had After Effects down at that point. I was kind of like, you know what, I can do with a bit of like theory, design, whatever. You definitely get that, but you don't learn design like you do on YouTube or watching someone who's good at design do a live stream. You don't learn quite like the principles the same way from my experience. What you do get is the kind of like forced exposure to things you wouldn't do normally. So like last year I made a font, for example. I would never do that if it wasn't, if it was entirely on my own back. I can't see myself doing that really. But you kind of get like these obviously the uni modules. but you do these things that you wouldn't usually do, and that benefits your career if you're in a position like us three, where you've kind of got something going on and you're also doing uni. It's like, for example, the font that I made was in my 2022 reel, right? So that was kind of like a nice sort of crossover. And it's like little things like that. So you might make a piece of work that could then go into a reel or something like that. And it's little things like that. They don't cross over a lot, but when they do cross over, I find them they're really good. From my view.
I would never have guessed that font. I was looking for that font to your reel actually some time ago. I could not find it.
Yeah,
that
explains it. I plan on releasing it at some point. We'll make that happen. But
definitely. Well,
you enjoyed uni so far.
I do like it. I thought about dropping out at the end of first year, and then I kind of got through the first 2 modules of second year, and I thought, do you know what? I've done all right at this. I could probably just finish this off at this point. And now I'm here at the end of second year. I'm about to go into third year, and honestly, I'm happy with it, to be honest.
How come you wanted to drop out? Oh, sorry.
I just didn't think it was basically the way I was trying to view it was is effectively balancing, is the cost of uni and all of this stuff worth, or is a degree and the time that I'm putting in worth more than what it's going to push me forward? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, is there more negatives to the potential positive? And at some point I sort of thought, it's not so much about that. It's not what the degree tells you, a degree on your LinkedIn or whatever it is that says, I did this. It's more about the people you meet, your social life, big time, is a thing. And just your general lifestyle. Like, my lifestyle has been very healthy since being at uni, because I've managed to make that work for me. So that's generally, I think it's indirect positives that you kind of don't appreciate until you're there, or maybe you come away from it and you realize what you've missing out on, stuff like that. Really,
yeah.
Especially connections as well. Because one thing I'm always hearing about uni is that if you go, even if you're not going to learn, you at least have to get some connections. You're going to meet people. You're going to meet someone who. Yeah.
So my view with like connections is, let's say there's 150 people on a course. There's going to be at least 5 of those people that are really going to be valuable to you at some point. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you're not necessarily everyone you meet is going to be amazing, right? And it's not like that. A lot of people, truthfully, do sometimes want you for different reasons and all these sort of things. But if you can fish out the right kind of people, they can be so helpful to you later on. And it's all about just having that network of like, oh, it will be a random point in your life. You'll be like, oh, I know a guy who does that. I know someone who does this. That's the key moment. It's little life-saving points where, because this person,
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've always heard like that uni is really good for connections, and also just like the uni life like is a bit different. But I a few years ago, when I came back from the military, I just decided at one point that I'm at the moment I'm not gonna go. So at the moment I'm like focusing on work, but sometimes I think maybe I should, because it seems so fun in a way. But I haven't really found a course that I would like to take in Estonia, because like I probably would take something else than design. Maybe even I was like thinking something like financial or like business or something like that.
Yeah, business would work.
Yeah, like for freelancing and stuff like that.
That was my kind of view, is like, I'm not learning design in what I'm currently doing, so I want to go to uni to try and get that bit better, and I like to think it's benefited from that a little bit. So it's
because
a good mindset to have.
Yeah, I feel like we're pretty good at like motion design overall. So I think like learning motion design again would be like pointless. And the graphic design courses here, I'm not sure. I haven't done them, but I've heard they're not that good. So I'm not going to take them probably. So something probably on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. I did have a view of like, is uni really worth it kind of early on, and I kind of thought the more freed up the briefs got, the more I kind of started to enjoy it. I was like, okay, this is making a lot of sense now, because it's like, I want to go down this direction, and suddenly you realize, actually, my lecturers are very good at this thing or this thing. And again, it's the 1 or 2 people, but it really can change like the course of stuff. So I'm very glad I stayed for sure.
How's your uni and work-life balance?
It's okay. So to me, I feel like I've got it quite healthy, but I feel like anyone looking in on my life would say it's really unhealthy.
Okay.
I effectively run it in like I have two like parts to my day, right? So from like 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. That's kind of like my uni time. So I'll have like lectures, or that'll be my time to do actual uni work or anything like that. And then from 3 until 10 p.m., that's 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. in America, I'm doing review. So that's like my job. And then any time after that will be probably just chilling. I just go and eat, or I sometimes work on some personal stuff. It's like you've got to get it so right. And the big thing for me is like, yes, work-life balance is like a struggle because I'm not doing much life on the side of my work. But one thing I do find is I just like lost my train of thought, but I'll get back. It's
Don't worry.
If you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like you're doing the thing that you enjoy. And one thing that I kind of thought about recently is, if money was no object, what would I do? I would still sit and make stuff, and I'd making like a loop, for example, like on my Instagram, my espresso loop. I loved making that thing, right? And that was like a real, like, there's no money attached to that thing at all, right? I was kind of like, I absolutely loved doing this. So the fact that I get to do that and get paid for it on top with work and everything that I'm doing, so to me, it's like, it doesn't feel like work. So yes, his work-life balance is probably really unhealthy, but it doesn't feel like work. So I feel like it's kind of good in my situation.
When do you go to the gym? After 10?
I actually go to
12
the
a.m.
gym
time.
before Ravi, so it'll kind of like, uni won't be consistently 9 till 3. It'll kind of be, some days it'll be like 9 till 11, and then 1 till 2, but you kind of slot it in. You make it work, but each day is different in many ways. It's kind of like revolving around my uni schedule, then Ravi schedule, then my life. So it's kind of like a priority list, and it's just what I can slot in. But having like a Google Calendar has changed my life. Oh my god!
Oh yeah!
It's the most helpful thing in the world. Just visualizing your day, best thing ever.
It's so good because first of all, you can like make timetables and stuff for yourself, and secondly, like putting like notes there and like events there, you just like get a free memory slot in your head because everything is on the calendar. Well, of course, if Google Calendar breaks or something, then we're
all done for.
Yep. So maybe like at one point I thought about getting like a physical calendar, like a notebook or something, but I can't be arsed.
Well, this is the thing as well. It's like being able to just freely move it around. So today, like, I came back I was seeing some friends last night, and I kind of like had this plan for what was going to happen. Some things changed, so I kind of came back, and half an hour earlier, it meant I had to like rejig my day. So then suddenly I'm going to the gym later and all of this. And it's just being able to change it around and see what you're doing. But also, if you're doing all your stuff and you treat it as like a history, like a search history, but work history, right? So what did I do today? Then you can go to bed thinking, God, I did like 3 different things today, and got these different things finished and all this, and you sort of feel more satisfied. So like I say, I've been keeping it as like an accurate, up-to-date version of what I've done and my history, right? And I've got that trailing back for months now at this point. But it's solid. It properly, like, it's changed everything. Really, really, really benefited me.
Like it is a bit tough at the start if you don't have a system, but once you like get your own system going, it's like great. And like checking off tasks that you've done is like a drug, basically. Like it just gets small, the list gets smaller and smaller, and it's really great.
Instead of like listing out a task list like normal, I would block time for it in the future. So it's a different way. But if you're going to do that, you've got to make sure that you're doing what is on your calendar. You can't start ignoring your calendar, because otherwise
there's no point.
Yeah,
you guys are convincing me to start using Google Calendar more.
100%, bro.
Right now, I've been spamming Miller Notes every day, man. I've got like over 500 boards on that thing at this point.
Really? This is the thing, is like, but it goes for your whole life. So like, I'm seeing my friends 3 weeks time. just put it on your calendar, and then suddenly you're sorted. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
And it's just your life. You've just got your life planned out, and it's just like you say, frees up a memory slot.
Yeah.
It really does ease up.
I used to have a lot of anxiety with like all tasks and like events and stuff.
Yeah.
Like even like from a few months now, then I have everything planned out. I don't have to think about it at all. I've got a reminder. Hey, you have a thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Easy.
Sorted.
Then you're all
anxiety.
Good. Yeah.
So.
And it's actually really good for like planning out projects as well. Although we use a separate program at work, but but Google Calendar is really good to like space out productions as well if you have like clients, and you can share it with the client as well, which is great.
Okay. Actually, on the note of going back a little, on the note of Ravi, like this Ravi, it looks like it's actually really changed your life a lot for the better. But what
100%.
about like how do you like start? Like what happened that you managed to like get in like to the team or contact with them? Like what happened?
Yeah, I mean, so it was January 2023. They were hiring like 3 different positions because industry was going great. They must have been in a position where they needed like a big team expansion. So I reached out to him personally before I applied to Austin, and I sort of said, look, be honest with me, like, is this a kind of position that you think I'd be good in? Whatever, like, effectively getting your foot in the door on a more personal level. Obviously, I've had Austin and Noah on my podcast back in 2021, so we had we had a connection there. So it wasn't like we were strangers. But then effectively, I applied, all of that, and then someone else got the job they do like a 3-week trial period, right? And I was kind of like, now that I'm part of the team, I know that I was the top 2, but the reason I didn't get it initially was because I was in uni and they were worried about my schedule and stuff. Anyway, so the 3 weeks for this other person didn't go to plan. Something, it didn't work out for whatever reason. And then they kind of reached out to me. They were like, look, we might have made the wrong call with this thing. Would you be open to a call today? Whatever. I was like, okay, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's great. And then I called them. It was a good time and got the job, and then had like a 3-week trial period, as they did, and then managed to get the contract extension. So it was a good time. Yeah. But
that's
that's the short story of how I joined. So.
And because the studio life, I'm thinking that like you get a lot of stuff from it, like the Ravi logo on your wall. It looks like a good decoration. But like, what do you think the kind of benefits are when you get a studio life?
The benefits of working with a team is immeasurable. Like, and this is coming from me. I was so like hellbent on, I'm never going to work under someone in my life. I'm going to be this individual that does everything myself and everything. Then I got to uni and I realized, look, looking for freelance work whilst being at uni is so hard. I need a job. That's why I applied as well. But then being in a team now, it's kind of like, it's not so much working. It's not like what you think it is, where you're kind of like working under someone and everything. It's like, if you can treat the team that you're with as an asset to your personal career as well, that's how everyone sees it. Is like, if I need help on clothing, I might go to Noah, or if I need help with a certain After Effects technique, I might go to Sam, and there's little things like that. If I want to get more productive or I need an idea, I'll go to Austin. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you've kind of got this mini network of people that are good at different things and they're on the team for their own reason. So you kind of reach out to each person when you need help with a certain something, and
like an upgraded version of uni.
It is. I'd say it's closer to how we were in the wlroo community, but we're all working on the same thing and we're making money from it. So that's kind of the vibe. We're not sat there, and it's not like this work environment. Like, it's a very friendly. We're very close as 8 people, although 2 people one person's left. Yeah, 1 person left. But he was an editor, my editor. So my tutorial videos, the ones I post on Instagram.
Is it the one with the one with the flip? That flip one was really
all of them. We've done like 15 together. That guy sadly left this week. So I've now got a new one coming out tomorrow that I edited myself, and I've made extra sure to make sure they look the same as the other ones.
I'm ready to see
but
it.
no, yeah, man, it's gonna be exciting. But no, I hope that answers the question. I think it does.
Yeah. Does it feel like a group project when you're making a project together? Like a school group project, you know? We're making a PowerPoint again.
Not so much. Like, maybe it can do sometimes, but I think the fun from that, yes, it like if you're on the right thing, you're on the right kind of project, it can be so much fun. I think the biggest pitfall for myself and certainly other people on the team as well is that you've got to kind of put your ego as a designer to the side. Like, people have critique on what you do every time, and it almost always improves it. So it doesn't matter how good you think you are or how much better you think you are than everyone else. It's like that. It's such a bad mindset to have. You can't have that. So for me, like, I snapped out of that so quickly at the start of working with them. I was kind of like, okay, every time I've done these people's feedback, internal little feedbacks, it's made it so much better, and you don't realize it till you've actually done it. But that's the big thing as well. Is kind of just knowing that other people are very good at what they are doing as well. You know, it's not you v the world. It's the team working together to you know, get rich together or something like that. You know?
Yeah, I can imagine.
I think that's a very good point. Yeah. I had the same thing when I started out.
No way.
Yeah, the ego thing is a thing someone should deal with at the start.
Actually, what's the size of New Way? Actually, is it how much bigger is it than Ravi? Like in terms of workers?
I think we have 11, 12 people, maybe.
Oh, that's
so we have. Yeah, it's pretty small.
I thought it was way more.
No. Yeah, it's a small Tartu agency. We have 2 teams. We have a branding team and we have a digital team. So the other team does like websites and then programming and UI UX, and we do brandings and different kind of projects. Like, I don't know, for example, like conferences and different types of events or ads or stuff like that. But yeah, my team, for example, is 5 people, and the other is the same. And then we have, of course, the CEOs and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Some of us, one man armies. No studios yet. Bro. No yet.
Honestly, though, don't even worry about going in and just jumping in, starting a studio or anything like that. Like, it will come if you want to be in control of like a studio or on top of a studio. I've always said this: the strongest way to do that is to kind of like pull someone in that you'll work well with, start to do things together as like dual freelancers, and it builds naturally. Like, you'll see that same kind of trend with every company. Like, Apple was started in a garage, and it was 2-3 people that were working together, and then it just snowballed up. Same with almost really every company you see.
I see some really good design duos out there. Like, sometimes it makes me wish, like, oh, I wish I had a duo like this. I can name drop some if I can. Even let me think of some. Leo and Vist, Leo Motion and Vist, they have some good branding. And then Pacom Pecant and Dries. I don't know if you know those two French guys. Yeah, they are so good together. But
wow,
soon I'll find mine.
Actually, Ordinary Folk started out the same way, like Jorge and the other person. They were also freelancing at the start, and then they were working so well together that they thought, hey, let's start something, and they started Ordinary Folk.
Wow. Oh, okay. That's what I'm saying. Is you see that trend everywhere, and it's so easy to like jump into something. How many studios have you seen on Twitter that are like, hey, we're hiring we're starting a studio. You join a group chat of like 7 people and it dies within a month. Like,
it's so bad.
There's a reason
especially
that
in
fails.
esports.
Do you know what I mean?
Esports studios are the worst ones.
It's everyone's desperate to make it straight away, and they don't want to go on the journey. You know, they just want to go straight into the
waiting for the here our creative lineup, and then they don't do anything else.
Yeah, it's surreal.
Yeah, well, what's it called? But let's say, like, in this more like an in general question, but like, if someone is starting out in motion design from both like a business and an art perspective, how do you think they should go around it? Because there's a lot of people that where like they probably come to you as well, but like they come to me or other people and say like they have some skills, but it's not in like the skill is not enough that they should even be making money realistically, but they think that they should. And it's some of the amount of arguments I've had with people messaging me saying, but why can't I just get clients like this? And I have to tell them, oh, you have to relax.
Yeah. You've got to I just genuinely think it's a case of enjoy what you make, love what you make, and people will see that if it's authentic. If you're doing it for the money at the beginning, it's not a great sign. And motion design generally, I mean, no one's in motion design for the money. You know what I mean? By rights. So like you'll get to the money later down the line. Like that comes when you've got your studio and your network and all this stuff and you're a creative director or you've got this great big day rate. All this stuff. But at the moment, especially, industry's not looking great. And I just don't think if people are sort of saying it's a big thing, like people I'm at uni with struggling to find a placement because the industry is struggling, you know, and all this stuff. But no, my advice would be love what you're doing. And I mean, like, actually love what you're making. Do it for the sake of the passion. When you're starting the project, you should feel butterflies in your stomach, like, yo, this is going to be so cool, all that stuff. And then when you post it, keep it authentic. Don't go begging for interaction. Don't be like, hey, likes appreciated. Like I started doing that early on and quickly realized it's not the way to do it. Do you know what I mean? So it's things like that. Don't also like a very basic understanding of social media algorithms. So like if you put a link on a tweet, it's going to perform less because Twitter thinks you're sending them off their platform. If you're on Instagram Reels, you need to have your first 3 seconds down to the point where they're going to stick around, you know? And little things. It's like if you put giveaway in a title, the algorithm doesn't like it because it's like there's little quirks
like
to like the whole thing, but like basic understandings of that kind of thing is always helpful. But also, and on top of that, it is just loving what you do and love the process of learning and getting better more than the process of getting likes and attention, because it's not a healthy cycle to be in if you're obsessed with numbers.
Usually the worst case of them, the worst case of them is when they post and then they'll say unlock at 100 likes. That's my least favorite.
Okay, that's so dumb.
At that point, you'll never post. You're gonna say right.
I think in short, you should enjoy the journey. Like it's at the start when you're just starting out, like you just found motion design. It's not gonna like skyrocket right away because I think I was like doing design and like figuring stuff out for quite a few years, and then was like, oh wow, I can earn money with this. And then I made a selfie shop and I got like €2 for my first intro, which was amazing at the time. I could buy 2 bags of chips. Hell yeah. But I wasn't really like focused on it. I was just like making stuff all the time. I'm really surprised how I used to make so much stuff in the early days of my like motion design career. Like I used to like just do stuff every day. Every day I would come home from school, I was like, hell yeah, I'm opening up After Effects. I'm making something really cool right now.
And that's the thing.
That's what like, you should feel.
If you've got that feeling about something you do, like same thing. It's like I'd come back when I was doing, I keep talking about espresso loop, but when I was making that thing, I was like, yo, I'm going to finish uni, I'm going to work on espresso. Yo, it's the weekend, I don't have to work, I'm going to do espresso and all of this. I was just like loving it. For like a good 2 weeks, I was just obsessed with that thing. It was a good time.
Like the excitement,
really good animation
is very important. Yeah.
Thank you.
But I think if you are starting out, like what I found out by doing weeklies is that actually like, forcing yourself a bit to practice and maybe do something and also posting it and just like doing stuff, you'll find new people, like make new connections. People will find you. You're also practicing at the same time, and if people like it, they will find you as well. And it should kind of come like naturally.
100%.
Yeah.
In my case, it's more like I would recommend that personal projects and case studies, best way to improve, especially case studies. Because if you take the time to really like, I'm doing one case study right now. I'm doing a case study on gradients. But even from my previous case study on framing, like what you learn from it, even though you may not use it that much, just the knowledge of it, you can add it to your project to spice it up a little bit. That frame rate project, now almost every project I do, I'm doing something from that frame rate project. And now people are saying like, oh, most people can tell if it's my stuff just from the fact that there's 12 frame rates going around.
That's the thing. It's part of your style now. It's good.
You're
Exactly.
locked in. You cannot escape
Always.
it anymore. That's
Yeah,
all you're gonna have
It's
to
like
do
me in
until the end of
3D,
your
bro.
career.
Me in 3D and After Effects, my computer's crying like, Will, please change career. Like, it doesn't want to handle it anymore.
The amount
It's
of RAM
funny.
you're gonna need to run all of that.
It's just, yeah, poor
Yeah,
thing. I
but
don't know how it's still kicking around. Love it, though.
you
My
should.
baby.
Should treat it once in a while. And you
Exactly.
polish.
Yeah. Give it some fresh oil or something. I don't know what it runs on.
Clean out the dust from inside.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at it now.
Uh-huh.
I probably could do with it. It's right there.
Yeah. But I think that's it. This is a good point to end the first episode of the podcast. Thank you very much, Will, for joining us.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We might
really nice to
maybe
catch
next
up.
time. Yeah.
100%.
Maybe next time we'll get the rest of your studio to come along. I don't know, Austin, if you're watching this. If you want to bring
I
the rest of the studio.
I could have a word. I could try and get them on.
I think
Make that
so. I think later in the month, SETI is coming up for the stage actually. So that's two out of 8 already. Soon.
He's not working with Ravi anymore though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
Did you not know that? He left like last summer.
Why?
No, he left. No, he left in February. My bad.
Yeah?
That's like
I actually
5
didn't know
months
for
ago.
like a few months, and then I was like, wait a
He
minute.
set up his own
and
thing.
then I saw it.
He's
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
his
yeah.
own thing now. Yeah.
He has
I
a
saw-
studio, I think, or something like that.
Oh,
It's
I
set
think-
angle. It's
Yes, I think, yeah.
yeah.
I've seen
He's,
that set theory.
He's always wanted to
Former Ravi member then.
former Ravi member. That's the one.
Good enough.
I think he was like, because there was like a point where there was like the 8 of us, and we were like a pretty
Yeah.
solid 8 for a long time, and then he kind of he's always wanted to do his own thing, so he went off, and I think he reached a point in his career where that made sense for him, and he's gone and done that. And I'm hoping it goes well for him. But at the minute, like Ravi's down to 7 people, and 2 of them are Austin and Noah. One of them's our coordination assistant. The rest of us are motion designers, so it's like an interesting dynamic. But
Yeah. But there's one guy in Ravi that I really like. The editor, the Pepe Frog guy. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
he's leaving as well. He's left this week.
Oh!
He's the guy that does
That's
my
who
tutorials.
left?
That's the
Why?
guy that does my tutorials, yeah. Because he works another job as well. I think he needs to spend a lot more time doing their stuff. He didn't want to leave. It was more of a case of like his other job kind of forced him out of this job, which is kind of sad. And at some point, I mean, his last few, like we send him like hourly like reports every week to show how many hours we've done, and that's how we get paid. And he was doing like 3 hours a week. So at some point, it's like, are we clinging on or what? So it's sad. It's sad for him. I will miss him.
Yeah,
I love
that's
that guy,
really unfortunate. I love his voice.
But it's not-
and his you can.
Yeah, but it's so natural. It's just that's what happens.
That's what has to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate though.
Still unfortunate, yeah, of course. Yeah, when I came here, then like 3 years ago now, I think a lot of people were leaving, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
But now the teams are pretty solid so far.
It's a good sign.
Oh, so you're like one of the older people. Reigo. But I asked if you were one of the older members of the studio.
Yeah, I think I am.
Oh, okay.
Let me think. I'm thinking. Yeah. So 3 years. 1, 2, 3, 4. So four people have come after me.
Oh, yeah. You old, bro. Come on.
Turning 22. Jesus Christ.
Almost
Still got time though.
Turning 30 soon, bro. I'm just letting you know.
Shut up.
That's funny.
Look, there's nothing wrong with being an
Yeah.
uncle. But on that note,
What
on
what an exit.
on that note, I think that we should call the podcast for today. Like I said, thank you, Will, for joining me, and Reigo as well. Next month,
It's
we're
a
gonna
pleasure.
have 2 new people joining me because Reigo is off for this. He's only on for this month. But next month, we're gonna be joined by another Layers and Keyframes member and another guest. But see you for the next episode. Bye bye.